All right, good morning, agents. This is Kevin Lauren. I'm the Director of Training and Marketing here at Alta Realty Group. And today we're going to go over natural hazard disclosures. CAL FIRE just came out with a new map with the recent devastating fires. This is something that we all need to be aware of, especially in Southern California, actually all throughout California. So we're going to be joined by Lina King today. But before we get into today's presentation, we're going to bring Bill Seitz, corporate broker, on the line. Bill, good morning. How are you today?
Good morning, Kevin. Good morning, everybody. Doing great. Hope everyone had a nice Memorial Day weekend. I sure did. Enjoyed the extra day off, and yeah, it was nice just kind of catch up and get rested. It's been a bit busy the last few weeks.
Oh, you deserve it, buddy. It has been a busy last couple of months, really. Right.
100%. But yeah, it was, here we are already on Wednesday, so it'll be a short week.
Yeah, I don't mind that.
Not at all. I hope everyone got a chance to listen to last week's webinar. It was a good one. And also, reminder, we have those reports through Amelia or myself if you need one. Those are really helpful tools. And I think that if you guys get in the habit of utilizing those, you'll be able to get some great information. So make sure to do that. And then today, I did the Broker Tuesday tip for yesterday, and it talked about property descriptions. And this is a really good one, I think, for everyone to go through for your listings. It talks about, emotional kind of descriptions that kind of triggers more emotion than, just basically there's certain verbiage that's kind of like the standard verbiage, and then they kind of break it down into ways to incorporate kind of that emotion and feeling of owning the home and what to expect, and and really target those areas because it's a more successful kind of sales utility a tool, really. And so everyone should read through that. I thought it was really good. I just came across it that that's going to be the perfect Broker Tuesday tip because it makes total sense. And part of this stuff is a little bit psychology, right? It's sales, psychology, and understanding how it all ties together.
No, for sure. No, there's a lot of psychology that goes into it as we all are learning. But yeah, no, I thought that was a really good tip. I appreciate you putting that out, Bill. And it doesn't look like we have Amelia on the line, but why don't we go ahead and take a look at the 10-year Treasury. Let me share that graphic with you guys.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it this morning yet, so usually I'm already got it up, but I was doing something else. So
yeah, it's kind of dropped a little bit. And then bumped
yeah,
a
I mean, from last week it's come down a hair. Yesterday it was down. Looks like this morning it's up slightly, 5 basis points. So, but once again, we're kind of just hovering in that mid-4 range. So, not a lot of change. Once again, I think that there was something in the markets on before the holiday weekend that pushed it down, and I'd have to go back and look. But this stuff is all driven by information and reports and all that critical economic stuff. So once again, we just keep an eye on it. The best thing is to do is, like Amelia says, is lock the rate when you're comfortable and not play the market, because nobody can play the market. That's impossible. So there's always usually these loans too, just so everyone knows, this is actually a pretty key thing to remember. And you can use this when you talk to buyers. Like, if rates get better, you only have to make basically 5 payments. They have what's called an early payoff, and borrowers technically don't have to wait this time, but the banks want you to wait this time because obviously they don't have any return on their lending of the money if the loan's paid off within like 30 days, 60 days. So what they have is called an EPO. It's called early payoff. And so typically the banks want to see 180 days, which equates to about 5 payments. If because you usually don't make your first payment till the following month if you close on a refinance or a purchase. So 180 days, 5 payments. If they're, oh, well, what happens if rates drop? Well, rates drop, we can refinance you. You know what I mean? Like, it's 5 months is nothing in the world of making a couple payments and just getting the property that you like, getting in the door and then refinancing. That's easy, right? So just
Yeah, we're talking about a 30-year mortgage. 5 months is nothing, right?
right. And most people stay in their home 7 to 10 years. That's just statistically the fact. So yeah, it's a very small little thing. If they get an opportunity, sure, we refinance you right away. So yeah, use that as a tool as well.
For sure. Thanks, Bill. And
Okay.
all the things I've been reading, probably you as well, is the 10 years probably going to stick right around this little spot. It's not really, the Fed's not planning on dropping rates anytime soon. So that's going to keep mortgages between 6 and 7%, somewhere in there. So, unless something drastic happens, it's probably going to be right in this zone, right?
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of softening out there. I don't know what everyone's seeing, and every market's different. But days on market, as we talked about a couple of weeks ago, is going up. I think it's about 70 days. I was reading yesterday on the CRMLS stats. So you're talking now more than 2 months for days on market. So once again, that ties into our pricing. It ties into being prepared and knowing all this data, so we don't go and have these things sit on the market. So but in that, if you got buyers, or you're in that situation with the sellers, things aren't moving, you gotta be able to be flexible. And sellers are now coming off of their list price. They're having to negotiate more. They're willing to give more concessions. So use that to your advantage on your buyer side too, and to help offset some of the compensation. That is a huge thing right now. I mean, if I'm going to represent a buyer, I'm feeling pretty good about my chances to get a pretty good deal for my if I'm representing a buyer, for them, and for my compensation to be covered. Because they're definitely, it's not a seller's market. It's moving away from that.
For sure. And if you haven't subscribed to those, I think DJ Bibb calls them access reports. Is that right?
Access, yeah.
Yeah, the access reports are really good. They come out like every Monday. I get them every Monday, and it just shows you, what exactly is going on in your market, and it's just a good idea to keep your finger on the pulse there.
Heck yeah.
All right, good. Well, Bill, thanks for the insights.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, and we are going to bring Lina King from Natural Hazard Disclosures on the line. And Lina has been with us a few times before, but as she and I discussed the other day, CAL FIRE has changed up their maps. It's not quite official yet, but they have released it to the public. So, welcome, Lina King. How are you doing today?
Hi, everyone. I am doing great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me.
Absolutely, always a pleasure to have you. And for those of you that most of you have, but have gone through my orientation, I always show everybody that in our agent resource center, we always have the download to mynhd.com and her downloadable app. So, Lina, why don't you give us a little bit of background for people that don't know you, and then we can kind of get into your presentation today.
Oh, okay, great. So I have been with my NHD for about 10 years now, but I've been in the real estate industry for about 25 years. I also did title insurance for 10 years. So I'm very well versed in helping you with your transactions and putting out fires, and customer service is always number one for me. And part of keeping you guys compliant and out of court, because the most lawsuits out there are for lack of disclosure. So I just thought it was important. So I reached out to Kevin, and I really wanted to um, just come on and share a little bit of education and clear up some confusion out there, because I'm sure by now everyone has heard that CAL FIRE has released new fire maps. It was all over the news. The NHD companies, we have the maps, but we're not using them. They're not official yet. What they didn't say is that they released them to the public, and that includes all the local municipalities for their review. And then they release their maps. They can either adopt our maps, the CAL FIRE maps, or they can expand them. And it looks like they'll be expanding them. So the maps even got larger. And then they're even going to get bigger. So imagine if you're in a transaction, you close, and the property is not in a fire zone, but a couple months later it is. And we were aware of the maps, but we didn't disclose it. Because it's material fact, we have to disclose it, even though it may not affect your transaction at the moment, but it's coming.
Yeah, and just you
Mhm.
hit the nail on the head. And it
Yes.
is our job to be up on these disclosures and to not let any of this stuff slip through the cracks.
Yes, correct. And the cleanest, most simple way to get these disclosures for fire is with My Has Check, because this is updated daily. This is trusted information from My NHD that you can trust. It's the same exact information that you're going to get when you receive the NHD report, so your clients can review it.
That's perfect. And I do have, Lina, those two graphics you sent me. So just let me know when you want me to pull those guys up.
Okay, go ahead and pop one up.
Okay, I am going to pull this first one up. Is that
Okay,
the right one?
yes, that's perfect.
Okay.
So if you type in this address, this particular property is not in a fire map, in fire zone. So we give you the existing maps and then the upcoming maps. And if you notice the two different colors, the lighter shade is the existing map, and then the darker shade are the maps that are coming. And these are due to be released probably around June or late August. Each city is going to release them as they, complete them and get them done. And then if you notice on the left upper corner, it says per pending LRA maps. And LRA means local responsibility area. So what that means is, okay, we need to disclose two things. If you're in a fire zone, yes or no. And if in the event of a fire, who's coming to your rescue? Is it CAL FIRE, or is it the city or the county? And this is what we let you know just by putting an address into our app. Okay, does anyone have any questions on that?
I don't see any questions yet, but I will
Okay.
keep you posted on that one.
Okay, so this is the first thing you're going to do when you're going on a listing appointment, when you're going to write up an offer, or when you're going to show a home. Make sure this is your first thing. Your go-to is you're going to pull out your app and get this information. And you can also text me and I'll do it for you as well.
That's perfect. And
Mhm.
so, and then just real quick, of course, all you have to do is go into our Agent Resource Center, click on the link and get, the free download. So that's easy. But you can also just go to mynhd.com and do the same thing, whatever's easiest for you.
Yes. It's not actually an app, it's a web-based app. And what you do is you're going to go to myhascheck.com, and I can send you the link. We should probably send that out again because it's been
Yeah,
a while, but I'll send that out with a follow-up email.
I'll just pull it up right here.
Yeah. And then you'll have to create an account.
Got it. Yeah, and let me just share that
Yeah.
graphic because
Yes.
this is what when you go to our Agent Resource Center, this is what you will link to. So
Mhm.
boom, looks like this, My House Check,
Correct.
which is app.mynhd.com. But yeah,
Mhm.
and then
Yes.
if you already have the account, you'll just log in, or you'll just click the sign up button if you're new to it.
Yes. It's very easy and, very little information. It's just really your name, phone number, and email. We don't sell your information, and we do not email you for any reason whatsoever. So,
Perfect.
yes. And then, so yeah, that's a great tool. And don't gatekeep this tool. Give it to your clients. Let them play with it while they're looking at properties. If they want to know, if someone's very specific about not being in a fire zone, this is a great tool for them. This is not to deter people from purchasing in a fire zone because, a lot of beautiful properties are in fire zones, but it's just to make an informed decision. And then the next steps, if you're selling in a fire zone, what you need to do.
That's perfect. And so I
Yes.
do have this other graphic that you sent me. And so
Okay.
the actual natural hazard disclosure, right?
Yes, that is the natural hazards disclosure statement page. This is where all NHD companies look the same. It's a state mandated page, so every NHD company has this page. It's what's behind them that makes us different. But I just wanted to show you that this is the page that you're going to look at, and we show it in right below where it says, okay, we're only concerned about all the boxes checked in yes, but where it says, yes, the wildland area, and yes, you've got your little hand on there.
Right.
And that's where we show you. And then keep going where it says per pending maps. So it's a little bit confusing because you're going to get your NHD report and you're going to say, it's going to say, yes, you're in a fire zone, but you got to read a little bit more. And it says per pending maps, because what happens is you jump through all the hoops, you know, you're going to call the fire department to come out and they're going to say, no, you're not in a fire zone. So it's not that our report is wrong, it's that we're disclosing the maps that are coming. So I'm getting a lot of emails saying, hey, this property is not in a fire zone, but your report said it was. And I said, no, you are correct. It's not right now, but it will be in the next month or two. And it's material fact, so we need to disclose it, but nothing else needs to be done. I don't know if you guys require the FHDS form to be filled out by the seller on every property or only on properties in a fire zone. But that's, you know, up to your brokerage. I have offices that do both. But if it's in a fire zone, that form does need to be filled out, even if you defer the fire inspection to your buyer, and then the buyer has 1 year to complete the inspection.
And Bill, could you shed light on that? Do we require that?
I think we do. I'll double check with Lauren,
Okay,
but this is like so critical. You know, with
yes.
the landscape of California has changed so much
Mhm,
in a couple of years with all these high profile fires and also
mhm,
insurance environment. So
mhm.
understand
Yes.
so important. And I encourage you all to send this webinar replay out when it comes out to your transaction coordinators, uh,
Mhm,
because they need to be up to speed as well. So a lot of you I know that utilize your TCs to write your contracts or, you know, basically handle the file A to Z. They
mhm.
know this stuff as much as you.
Yeah.
Yes.
And
Yes.
Lina, is a resource for them as well. So you can also, make sure that they have Lina's contact information, right?
Yes, I would love to have all your TC's information and maybe do a webinar with them.
For sure. No, that's a really good idea. And of
Yeah.
course, Don Kearney says, agents, this is so important. He knows.
Yes, yes. And especially if you're selling in LA County, to get the fire department out there, it's been taking up to 3 weeks. And it's been taking, you know, longer to even get insurance. And if getting insurance is a problem, then, you know, at the last minute, they need to go with the California Fair Plan, which a lot of people call the California Unfair Plan, because it only covers 75% and you need a secondary insurance. So this is all just to get ahead of the game. And when you have a house that's in a fire zone, you have a discussion with your seller. Do they want to do the inspection, or do they want to defer the inspection? Right now, it's set up to defer the inspection to the buyer, and the buyer has 1 year to complete the inspection. However, when you get that great all cash offer, but they want that inspection done, then we're left a little bit scrambling. So it's, you know, it's up to your sellers. If they seem like they want to do as much as they possibly can, or there's some that have never even lived in the home, they haven't even touched it, maybe they inherited it, and no, they just want to dump it and get rid of it. Maybe they don't want to do the inspection, so you know, we can do it the other way as well.
Yeah, that does come down to the seller,
Mhm.
right?
Yes, comes down to the seller, correct.
Perfect. Well, Lina,
Mhm,
really good information. And then just, so let's just use the example of the Palisades fire. That
mhm.
that wasn't even considered a high fire area, was it? Or you tell me.
No, it wasn't, but it is now, because once it's burned, anytime there's loss of life or loss of property, it is considered, you know, now we have to disclose it as a fire area.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah. And so that's one thing to also consider, right, Bill?
Mhm.
Well, yeah, 100%. And as Lina mentioned too, is some of these high profile areas, and it's taking 3 weeks to get these inspections done, you really got to take that into account with your due diligence periods and your expectations for getting the information, these material facts, which can impact your contracts and your obligations for both buyer and seller. So this is really, you got to have awareness on this, because if you think you're going to, do a 21-day escrow and you're in one of these high profile areas and you can't get the report done, there's no way you're going to close in 21 days. You know what I mean? So it's and these are all the stuff that if you have these conversations with your seller ahead of time, you're prepared. If you having this conversation a week into escrow, you're probably in deep shit. Excuse my language, but
Right.
that's the reality, right? I mean, that's just at the end of the day, that's just the fact. So yeah, this is a great topic, and appreciate you coming on today, because this is, I mean, you can imagine what will happen if you don't disclose or you don't do something, and the buyer closes on the home, and then they find out after the fact about this high risk fire zone or fire area, and they want to pin you with the lawsuit or the brokerage. Probably not going to go too well.
Exactly, because people are just litigious, and maybe they're not happy after they close and they're going to look for something. But just peace of mind that my NHD, we are the only company that doesn't send you to arbitration or to small claims court. This would be fall under us to protect you with. So it is crucial that you're using my NHD, because the other companies are not giving you this kind of protection.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yes. So you can disclose with confidence as long as you're using my NHD.
Love it. That's why we bring you on, Lina.
Love it. Love it.
That's why you're our natural hazard disclosure partner.
Thank you. And I am happy to jump on the phone with any of you and walk you through this process. I do it all the time.
Perfect. Bill, anything else to wrap up?
No, I would just encourage you all to put Lina's contact in your phone, or pass it along to your TC, or both. And I think it's one of those things where if you're working these high profile fire areas, you're going to want to use her probably the first couple transactions, just so you get the process down, get it dialed in. Probably good enough to just have the your own method of getting the information and preparing the documents to your clients. And so just making sure you do everything the right way the first couple times is probably the most prudent thing to do, and then you're off and running.
Exactly.
Yes.
All right. Well, Lina, thanks again for being here. We really appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you. Everyone have a great day. We'll talk to you soon.
Absolutely. So agents, with that said, get out there, make it a great week, a productive week, and we'll see you guys next Wednesday on the webinar. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.